Hey, happy Friday, you guys. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been a while since I've done one of these, and so I just kind of wanted to do a quick recap of what we talked about at youth group last night, hopefully just to encourage you. We're starting this new series all about temptations, which we know it can be uncomfortable. It can feel weird. It's sometimes hard to talk about that kind of stuff, especially because a lot of times we feel guilty that we're tempted. But as we kind of talked about last night, we started looking at the story of how Jesus was tempted. And just by seeing that Jesus was tempted, it kind of gives us the encouragement that we don't have to feel guilty or ashamed that we're tempted, because the temptation in and of itself isn't what's bad. It's how we respond to that temptation that actually matters. And so we looked at the temptation of Jesus and how the first thing he was tempted by is the tempter comes after him after he's been fasting for 40 days. So he's super hungry. And the tempter comes to him and says, well, if you're really the Son of God, just turn those stones into bread so you can eat, right? And obviously he's being tempted to just use his powers for himself so that he can eat, right? We've all been tempted, when we're super hungry to just snack on something we don't want and things like that, which is a whole nother conversation. But what is really interesting is that the tempter goes straight to Jesus' identity. If you really are the Son of God, then just use your powers, right? He's poking at, are you really the Son of God? If that's who you are, making him sort of question, making him maybe even, could he believe that he's not? Could he believe that maybe he's not valuable enough or worth enough, right? And we have that same temptation. Sometimes we are tempted to believe that we're not good enough, that we're not important, that we don't have value, maybe even believe that about other people. And that temptation, those thoughts in our mind lead us to do things that are stupid, that are hurtful to ourselves and others, right? Think about the things that we do. A lot of those things stem from us and how we believe ourselves, things about ourselves. And so we kind of process that a little bit of like, what are the things that we believe about ourselves and how does that impact what we do in our lives? And so we see with Jesus that he is able to combat that temptation by trusting in the word of God. And he literally says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to fall into temptation and like just use my powers to give myself food. Because he says, people don't live on bread alone, but live on every word that comes from the mouth of God. And so our kind of discussion last night was processing, like, what are the words of God? What does God say about us? Because when we believe what God says about us, it actually can influence us to make better choices. And that's the whole point of this week, is kind of processing to let what God says about us influence what we do. And so I kind of want to encourage you, like, if you're having these negative thoughts about yourself, to really question, is that true? Or are you believing something false about yourself? And so think about that this week, and hopefully you can process through your own temptations and what you're struggling with, and reach out for help. Talk to us. We want to be a space that's honest, that we can help each other with whatever's going on in our lives, and that we can be like a safe and authentic community. So we hope that this is encouraging to you guys, and we hope we can see you next week as we're continuing this whole series on temptations and studying the temptation of Jesus. Love you guys. Hope you guys have a good week. Bye.